Hello, and welcome back to Slumbering Ages. Feel your shoulders begin to drop, releasing a tension you may not have even noticed you were holding. Allow the weight of your body to grow heavy, sinking deeply into the surface beneath you. Safe, comfortable, and still, we leave behind the hum of electricity and the glow of screens, and we journey backwards. The year is 1050. There is no need to imagine a difficult journey here. No need to feel the bite of the wind or the sting of the snow, because you are already here. You are safe inside, sheltered from the world, in a place of profound warmth and quiet security. The wind, a furious and elemental spirit, howls and shrieks outside, throwing fists of snow against the timbered walls. But its voice is muffled and distant to you, a mere rumour of a world that cannot touch you. It is a sound that only serves to deepen the sense of your own perfect safety, the profound peace of being protected and enclosed. Here, in the heart of this immense wooden hall, the only true light comes from the long central fire pit. It is a trench in the earthen floor, many paces long, and it is filled with massive logs of pine that burn with a steady, generous ferocity. The fire speaks in its own ancient language, a constant, soothing series of pops and deep, resonant crackles as pockets of golden resin burst in the heat. A thick, sweet, and comforting scent of wood smoke and melting pine sap fills the air, a perfume of pure warmth and life. This scent mingles with the faint, earthy smell of the packed dirt floor and the dry animal scent of the heavy furs that hang from the high arching rafters. You are seated on a low, sturdy stool carved from a single block of wood, its surface softened by a thick, folded sheepskin blanket. The wool is coarse and heavy under your legs, its lanolin scent a faint but reassuring presence. The fire is close enough that you can feel its radiant heat soaking into your clothes, chasing away any memory of the cold. It warms the palms of your hands and the front of your body, a constant gentle pressure of pure comfort. Your back, turned to the deep shadows of the hall, feels the cool, still air, creating a pleasant contrast that keeps you awake. The rest of the clan, the dozens of souls who share this great house, are long asleep. The vast, cavernous space is filled with the soft, rhythmic sound of their breathing. It is a collective exhalation, a unified tide of life that rises and falls in the darkness. You can see their forms nestled in the sleeping alcoves that line the long walls, mounds of wool blankets, and heavy bear and wolf pelts, rising and falling in unison. A child murmurs softly in their sleep, a sound that is quickly absorbed by the immense quiet. A log in the fire shifts, sending a shower of brilliant orange sparks spiraling up towards the smoke. Hole in the roof, a temporary constellation that dances and dies in an instant. Otherwise, there is only the breathing, the fire, and the muffled ghost of the storm. This is a peace, so deep it feels eternal. In your hands, you hold two things that are. It is a simple tool, the blade dark and well oiled, the wooden handle worn smooth and dark, with the patina of countless hours of use. It is an extension of your own hand, familiar and perfectly balanced. And you are carving with the world outside, held at bay, and the world of your people lost in slumber. You have descended into the small, quiet universe of the wood and the blade. You turn the birch block over in your palm, feeling its weight, its potential. The grain runs in long, faint lines across its surface, a map that you will follow. You are not carving with any urgent purpose, not to create a tool or an idol. You are carving for the sake of carving, for the quiet focus it demands, for the simple, satisfying dialogue between steel and wood. You brace the block of wood against your thigh, the heavy wool of your trousers providing a stable purchase. You bring the knife's edge to the corner of the block, pausing for a moment. The firelight glints along the sharpened steel, a sliver of orange light. Then, with a slow, deliberate pressure, you draw the blade towards you. There is a crisp, satisfying fish sound as the iron bites into the wood. It is a clean, dry sound. A thin, perfect curl of wood peels away from the block. You watch it fall away into your lap, a pale comma against the dark wool. You lift the block closer to your face and inhale. The fragrance, a refreshing counterpoint to the heavy, smoky air. It smells of the forest in springtime, of sap and new leaves, a memory of light in this season of endless dark. You make another cut. The blade sinks in with a gentle, consistent resistance, and you can feel the subtle vibration of the wood fibers parting, a feeling that travels up the knife, through your hand, and into your arm. The knife whispers its sibilant song, fish, and another perfect shaving. This one long and ribbon, like detaches and flutters down. Your entire being begins to narrow, your focus contracting until it rests only on this small, illuminated space in you. The howling of the wind fades further, becoming just a low hum at the very edge of your hearing. The rhythmic breathing of your kinsmen becomes a subconscious beat, like the slow, steady rhythm of your own heart. The dancing shadows on the high roof, cast by the leaping flames, are a silent, moving tapestry that you no longer consciously see. There is only the feel of the smooth, cool wood in your left hand, and the familiar, weighted presence of the knife in your right. There is only the sight of the pale wood turning slowly in the amber light, the fire catching the sharp new angles you are creating. There is only the crisp, repetitive fish-fay of the blade, a sound that clears the mind and stills the soul. And there is the fresh, clean scent of the living wood, a constant, gentle reward for your patient work. You are not thinking about tomorrow, or the endless winter, or the return of the sun, the tiny imperfections in the grain that guide your hand in unexpected ways. You turn the block and begin to work on another side, this time making a series of small, careful notches along an edge. Each notch requires a different motion, a short, decisive push of the blade, followed by a delicate scooping action to remove the chip. Asterisk. The small chips of wood flick away, landing around you like pale snowflakes. You are creating a pattern, a texture, a rhythm of light and shadow on the surface of the wood. The work is slow, unhurried. There is no one to please, no deadline to meet. The night is long, and this moment of quiet industry is a small, warm island. In an ocean of darkness and sleep, the fire settles, a large log collapsing in on itself. With a soft fey-umph, the light in the hall dips for a moment before flaring up brighter, casting your own shadow, huge and dark against the wooden wall behind you. You see it stretch and sway, a giant figure hunched in concentration, and you feel a sense of profound solitude, but not loneliness. It is the peace of being the sole guardian of the watch, the one waking soul in a sleeping world, your quiet work a silent vigil under the great smoky timbers of the hall. You run your thumb over the surface you have just carved. It is no longer smooth. It has a new texture, a landscape of shallow valleys and low ridges. Your breathing has slowed, deepening to match the quiet of the hall. The repetitive motion of your hands is hypnotic, a physical mantra that has carried you far away from the complexities of the world. You are simply here, in the warmth, with the fire, and the wood, and the sound of your blade. You look down at the growing pile of pale, curled shavings in your lap. They form a soft, fragrant nest on the dark wool. You pick one up. It is so light, so fragile. You hold it up to the firelight, and it glows with a soft internal luminescence, the faint lines of its woody structure visible within. The massive, interlocking logs are its bones, The heavy pelts and sod roof its skin. The fire is its beating heart, and the collective breath of the sleepers is its soul. You are a part of it, a quiet, conscious thought within its sleeping mind. The warmth from the fire has soaked deep into your bones. Now a pleasant, heavy lethargy that begins to creep through your limbs. The focus that was so sharp just moments ago begins to soften at the edges. You decide to make just a few more cuts. You lift the knife again, its weight feeling slightly greater than before. You find a smooth, untouched section of the birch block and press the blade against it. Fish. Asterisk. The sound is softer now, more drawn out. The curl of wood that peels away seems to do so in. You watch its graceful arc as it falls to join its brethren in your lap. The fresh scent of birch rises again, but it seems less sharp now, more gentle and diffuse. Another long, slow cut. Fish. Asterisk. Your arm moves with a practiced, easy grace. There is no effort, no strain. The blade does the work, and you are merely the guide. The world has shrunk to an impossibly small point of focus, and yet, at the same time, your awareness feels vast and untethered, floating in the warm, smoky air. You feel the slow, steady rhythm of your own pulse in your neck. You are not just in this longhouse. You fey the longhouse. You are the warmth of the fire, the strength of the timber, the softness of the wool. You are the sleeping breath of your family, and the patient, silent work of your own two hands. Everything is connected in a web. The knife feels heavy now, a comfortable, sleepy weight. The blade glides across the wood, a whisper of steel on timber, and a final, perfect ribbon of birchwood spirals away. You watch it settle on the pile, the last note in a long, quiet song. You have done enough. The wood can rest, and so can you. You carefully place the small iron knife on the sheepskin beside you, its work complete for the night. Its dark form is almost invisible against the dark wool. Then, you place the half-carved block of birch beside it. You run your fingers over its new surfaces one last time, feeling the product of your quiet, meditative hour. It is good. It is enough. Without the focus of the carving, your senses open up again, but in a different way. They are no longer sharp and directed, but soft, receptive, and wide. You are no longer observing your environment. You are simply absorbing it. The sound of the fire has changed. The loud crackles and pops have mostly subsided as the great logs are consumed from within. Now the sound is a deep, low hum, the sound of a million embers glowing and breathing. There is a soft hissing sound as the coals settle, a gentle sigh as a log shifts and crumbles into a pile of incandescent dust. It is the sound of a great power slowly, peacefully going to sleep. You listen more deeply to the breathing of the sleepers. It is not one sound, but many. You can distinguish the deep, slow draft of a large man's breath from the lighter, quicker rhythm of a woman nearby. You can hear the almost imperceptible puff of air from the child who murmured earlier. It is a complex, layered soundscape of life and rest, a human ocean rising and falling in the dark. The storm outside has either passed, or you have simply ceased to hear it. Its fury now completely irrelevant. A story from another world. Your gaze drifts from the fire to the walls of the great hall. Your eyes are now fully accustomed to the gloom, and you can see details you had not noticed before. You see the rough texture of the dried moss and clay used to seal the gaps between the massive logs. You see the way the firelight catches the polished surface of a row of shields hanging on the far wall, their painted surfaces and iron bosses glowing with a dull, mysterious light. You see the deep, rich black of a bearskin pelt hanging from a rafter, its fur so thick that it seems to drink the light, creating a patch of absolute darkness against the smoky ceiling. The shadows are no longer dancing. As the fire has calmed, so have they. Long, soft-edged shapes that stretch and contract with an impossibly slow rhythm, moving like seaweed in a deep, slow current. They are no longer distractions, but a part of the quiet, a visual representation of the deep peace that fills the hall. The air itself feels heavy and thick, laden with the smells of 1,000 nights like this one. The dominant scent is still the rich, resinous smoke, but beneath it, other, more subtle aromas emerge. The oily, earthy scent of lanolin from the unwashed wool of countless blankets, the faint, sharp tang of old leather from harnesses and shoes stored in the darkness, the dry, dusty smell of herbs hung from the rafters to dry, and beneath it all, the fundamental, grounding smell of the damp earth floor. It is the smell of home, of continuity. A profound sense of heaviness is settling over you. Your eyelids are now so heavy, weighted down by the darkness and the warmth. It feels good to let them close. Just for a moment, with your eyes closed, the world transforms again. It is no longer a world of light and shadow, but one of sound and sensation. The feeling of the warm air on your face and the cool air on your back becomes more pronounced. You can feel the soft, coarse texture of the sheepskin through your trousers, the solid, unyielding wood of the stool beneath it. Your breathing has become completely synchronized with the slow, deep rhythm of the sleepers around you. Inhale, and a long, slow exhale. You are breathing with the night. A wave of warmth spreads from the center of your chest, flowing down your arms to your fingertips, and down your legs to the soles of your feet. Every muscle in your body is letting go, surrendering to the pull of gravity and the deep call of rest. The warmth of the fire feels as if it is inside you. The rhythmic breathing feels like your own. The solid darkness behind your eyelids feels like the great, sheltering darkness of the Longhouse itself. There is no separation. There is only peace. There is only warmth. There is only the deep, profound stillness of a world asleep. The storm is a distant memory. The long night stretches ahead, but it is not a void to be endured. It is a soft, warm blanket to be wrapped in. Allow yourself to drift now, on the slow, gentle tide of sleep that fills this ancient hall. Let the low hum of the embers be your lullaby. Let the soft, collective breath of the sleepers carry you away. There is only comfort here. There is only safety. May your rest be as deep and as peaceful as this winter's night. May you sink into a sleep as profound and unbroken as the darkness that cradles this sleeping world. The world outside has been swallowed whole by the polar night and the howling blizzard, a frantic and frozen chaos that can no longer touch you. Here, in this cavernous hall built from the giants of the forest, you are utterly and completely sheltered. The walls are made of immense logs of pine, each one as thick as a man's chest, interlocked with the patient skill of generations. They do not tremble in the wind. They absorb its fury, muting its shriek to a low, resonant hum that you can feel more than hear, a deep vibration in the wooden stump beneath you and in the bones of your own resting body. The great hall is a living, breathing creature, and you are resting peacefully in its belly, warm and secure. Above you, the high, peaked roof is a vast darkness, a man-made sky thatched with thick layers of turf and shingled with wood, now buried under a heavy blanket of insulating snow. From the crossbeams hang the winter stores and the wealth of your clan. Great smoked hams and sides of bacon, wrapped in cloth, cast lumpy, mysterious shadows. Bundles of dried herbs, gathered in the long-lost light of summer, release the faintest memory of meadowsweet and yarrow into the warm, smoky air. And everywhere there are furs, wolf and bear, reindeer and fox, their pelts cured and soft, hang like dark, silent banners, their textures drinking the firelight and giving back only a soft matte glow. They are the trophies of the hunt. Yes, but tonight, they are simply a part of the profound quiet. Their presence, adding another layer of texture and warmth to your secluded world. The air itself is thick and close, heavy with the scent of pine smoke, of warm wool, of beeswax from a forgotten candle, and of the clean human scent of sleep. You can hear the collective breath of your kin, a sound so steady and so rhythmic that it has become a part of the silence. It is a soft tidal hush, a gentle unified inhale, followed by a long, slow, sighing exhale. It is the sound of life at its most peaceful, a community bound together not by words or deeds, but by the simple, shared act of breathing in the dark. You can see their forms, nestled on the long wooden platforms that line the walls, buried deep under mounds of sheepskin and wool blankets. They are just soft, rising and falling shapes in the gloom, their faces turned away from the light, their bodies given over completely to the gravity of rest. There are no dreams of battle here, no anxieties of the coming day. There is only this deep communal peace, a trust so absolute that the entire hall can surrender to unconsciousness, leaving the fire and the watch to the quiet stillness of the night itself. And in the center of it all, the heart of the Longhouse, is the fire. A long rectangular pit, sunk deep into the earthen floor and lined with stones, cradles a blaze that seems to have a life of its own. It is not a frantic, angry fire, but a deep, slow and confident one. Hugay logs of pine, felled before the first snows, rest amongst the glowing coals, their resinous pockets hissing and popping with a satisfying crackle. Each pop sends a fountain of golden sparks dancing up towards the smoke. Hole in the roof, tiny fleeting stars that die before they can ever meet the real frozen ones, hidden by the storm. The flames are a constantly changing tapestry of colour. At their base, a deep and liquid cherry red pulses with hypnotic slowness. Above that, tongues of brilliant orange and bright buttery yellow lick and curl around the wood, casting long dancing shadows that leap and play across the timbered walls and the sleeping forms. The light is warm, amber and honey, gold painting everything it touches with a soft, forgiving glow. It catches the rim of a discarded wooden bowl, the brass buckle on a sleeping man's belt, the stray silver thread in the weaving of a blanket, and it falls upon you, wrapping you in a cocoon of gentle, flickering warmth. You feel the heat on your face, a pleasant flush across your cheeks and forehead. You feel it on your hands as you hold them near the glow, the heat sinking deep into your knuckles. A heavy, undyed wool blanket is draped across your lap, its weight a comforting pressure on your legs, and the fire's warmth has saturated the thick fibers, turning it into your own personal source of heat. You are sitting on a low, wide stump of oak, its surface worn smooth by years of use, a simple and solid connection to the earth beneath the floor. And in your hands, you hold your own small world, a piece of silver birch wood and a small, sharp iron knife. This is your meditation, your quiet conversation with the long, dark hours of the winter night. The knife is a simple tool, but a perfect one. The blade is short and keen, forged from good iron, its edge honed to a razor's sharpness on a whetstone slick with oil. It gleams with a dark, hungry light where it catches the fire's glow. The tang of the blade is set deep into a handle of worn leather, wrapped tightly and moulded perfectly to the shape of your grip. It feels cool and solid in your palm, a familiar weight, an extension of your own will. There is no aggression in this blade. It is a tool of creation, of shaping, of bringing forth a quiet beauty from the heart of the wood. You hold it with a practiced ease, your thumb braced against the back of the blade, guiding its every move with subtle, deliberate pressure. The wood, in your other hand, is a piece of birch cut from a branch that was felled by the autumn winds. It is about the length of your hand and as thick as your wrist. The bark has already been stripped away, revealing the pale, creamy wood beneath. It is smooth and cool to the touch, with a fine, almost invisible grain that runs in straight, clean lines. You turn it over and over, feeling its weight, its balance, its potential. As you hold it near the fire, the warm light reveals the subtle, milky shimmer of its surface. You bring it close to your... It has a clean, green, slightly sweet scent, the ghost of sap and leaves, and the memory of a sunlit forest. It is the smell of life, a stark and beautiful contrast to the smoky, sleeping air of the Longhouse. And so you begin to carve. Your focus narrows, the vast hall and the sleeping world around you fading into a soft, warm blur. Your entire universe. You press the edge of the knife into the wood, and with a slow, controlled movement, you begin to pare away a shaving. There is a crisp, satisfying sound, a soft fish-fay, as the blade bites into the fibers. It is the sound of clean separation, a dry and whispering sigh. You feel a slight, firm resistance as the blade sinks in, and then a smooth, effortless glide as the wood yields to your pressure. It is almost translucent in the firelight, a pale, silvery ribbon. Finally, with a gentle flick of your wrist, the shaving comes free and falls, light as a feather, onto the dark wool of the blanket in your lap. It lies there, a pale curlicue against the dark, heavy fabric, still holding its perfect spiral shape. You pause for a moment, your breathing slow and even. There are no complex thoughts here, no worries of tomorrow, no memories of yesterday. There is only the feel of the knife in your hand, the sight of the pale wood, the sound of the cut, and the fresh, clean smell that rises with each new slice. You make another pass again, that soft, shearing sound, fish-fay, as the blade whispers through the wood. Another perfect curl peels away, this one slightly wider, and joins its predecessor on your lap. You are not rushing. You are simply engaging in a slow, timeless dance, a rhythm that has been practiced in this very hall, by this very fire, for countless winter nights before you. Each cut is a moment of pure presence. Each shaving that falls is a small, tangible piece of the passing time, made beautiful and fragrant. You turn the wood in your hand, deciding on a shape, perhaps a bird, a small, simple creature of the air, a reminder of the freedom of the open sky. Even now, as you are burrowed deep within the earth, you begin to round one end of the block, making a series of short, careful, overlapping cuts. The knife moves with a soft, rhythmic fishick, shick, shick, asterisk, as you gently remove the corners, coaxing a smooth, curved shape from the angular block. Tiny chips and slivers of wood now fall amongst the larger curls, creating a small, fragrant drift on your lap, like a miniature snow pile of pale, scented wood. The firelight catches the newly exposed facets of the wood. As you work, your mind becomes as still and as quiet as the hall around you. The rhythmic motion of your hands is a physical mantra. The soft sounds of your work are the only sounds that matter. The fish-fee of the long, peeling slice, the crisp fishick fee of the shorter, shaping cuts, the soft, almost silent rustle as the shavings settle on your lap. These sounds weave themselves into the deeper, slower rhythm of the breathing that fills the hall, creating a complex yet profoundly soothing symphony of the night. You are not just an observer of this piece, you are an active participant, your quiet work a contribution to the deep and resonant calm. Your eyes grow heavy, not with tiredness, but with the depth of your concentration. Your focus is so complete that the world outside of your hands simply ceases to exist. The sleeping forms around you are merely soft hills in a landscape of shadow. Your entire consciousness is poured into the gentle act of creation. A head begins to form, a gentle dome that flows smoothly into a slender neck. You are not forcing the shape upon the wood. You are discovering the shape that already lives within it. The pile of pale shavings on your lap grows higher, a soft, warm mound that smells of forest and frost. You run your free hand over the surface of the wood, feeling the smooth, curved surfaces you have made. The shape is still rough, a mere suggestion of a bird, but the life is already there. You can feel it. The potential for flight, for song, is held captive in this small, warm piece of birch. And as you hold it, pausing in your work, your focus begins to soften and expand once more. Your awareness returns from the small world in your hands to the larger. The crackle of the burning pine has subsided, replaced now by a low, consistent hiss and the occasional soft hump as a log settles deeper into the glowing bed. The shadows it casts are no longer leaping and dancing. They have grown long and lazy, stretching into the far corners of the hall, softening all edges, blurring the lines between object and emptiness. Your hands, which have been so busy, now feel heavy and slow. You make one last, long, gentle slice, shaving a fine, thin layer from what will be the bird's back. With a slowness that feels deliberate and deeply restful, you carefully place the iron knife on the wool blanket beside you, its dark form stark against the pale growing mound of shavings. You set the half-formed bird next to it. Its simple, graceful shape seems to capture the essence of the quiet all around you. Your hands are now empty, and you rest them on your thighs, palms down, feeling the rough texture of the wool and the deep, radiating warmth that has soaked into it. Now, there is nothing left to do, no tasks to complete, no thoughts to wrestle with. There is only being, only listening. Your eyelids feel wonderfully heavy, like velvet curtains slowly drawing closed. You allow them to fall, shutting out the flickering firelight, and the world transforms into a tapestry of sound and sensation. Without sight, the other senses become profoundly sharp. You can hear the individual breaths of the sleepers. Now, the slight variations in their rhythm, the deep, slow draft of a large man's breathing nearby, the softer, quicker whisper of a child's breath from across the hall. It is an orchestra of rest, and your own breathing, without any effort, begins to slow and deepen, finding its place in the chorus. Inhale, a slow, easy filling of your lungs with the warm, smoky air. Exhale, a long, complete release. Letting go of everything, your whole body sinking another inch deeper. You can feel the heat of the embers on your face, a constant, gentle pressure, a warm hand cupping your cheeks. You can feel the heavy, comforting weight of the blanket on your legs, a secure and grounding presence. You can feel the solid, unmoving strength of the log walls around you, a silent promise of absolute safety. The distant, muffled roar of the blizzard is no longer a sound of threat, but a deep, soothing drone, the purr of the world as it sleeps. It is a sound that insulates you, that cocoons you, that reminds you of how warm and safe and still you are. It is a scent of pure potential, of new beginnings, of the quiet promise that even after the longest winter, the sun will return, the sap will rise, and the world will be green again. But that is a thought for a distant time. The boundary between the weight of your limbs becomes a pleasant, liquid heaviness. Your shoulders have released all their burdens. Your jaw is soft. Your brow is smooth. You are simply a point of peaceful awareness in the heart of a sleeping world. The glowing embers of the fire pulse behind your closed eyelids, not as a light, but as a slow, rhythmic wave of warmth. The hum of the storm is the hum of the universe. The breathing is the tide of life itself. There is nothing more to see, nothing more to do. There is only this gentle, effortless sinking into the warmth, sinking into the quiet, sinking into the deep, dark, and dreamless peace of the long winter night. You are safe, you are warm, and it is time to rest. Let the current of sleep take you now. Sleep now. Its handle, a simple piece of dark, unadorned iron, has been worn smooth by the grip of your own fingers over countless quiet nights, just like this one. The firelight glints along the sharpened edge of the blade, a sliver of captive starlight in the deep smoky dark of the longhouse. You turn the knife slowly, watching that line of light travel from the hilt to the tip, and back again, a silent, liquid dance of orange and silver. This tool is an extension of your will, simple and true, and in this moment, it feels like the most important object in the world. In your other hand, you hold a block of birch wood. It is pale and creamy, the color of winter milk, and the surface is so smooth, it feels almost soft against your skin. You can feel the faint, almost imperceptible texture of the grain running in parallel lines beneath your fingertips. A silent record of the tree's slow and steady growth. You lift the block closer to your face, and even before the blade touches it, you can smell its clean, green, and slightly sweet scent. A ghost of the forest it came from, a memory of summer sunshine and cool, damp earth, now held here in the heart of the deepest winter. The block is solid, promising, a blank space waiting to be. There is no pressure here, no expectation. The journey of the carving is the destination itself. With a slow and deliberate motion, you press the keen edge of the iron blade into the corner of the block. You guide the knife forward, and a thin, perfect curl of wood begins to peel away from the block. The sound is crisp and delicate, a soft fish, like a secret being whispered between the iron and the birch. The shaving spirals away from the blade, translucent and fragile, before falling silently onto the thick wool blanket that covers your lap. You make another pass, and then another, your movements falling into a slow, comfortable rhythm. Fear, curl of wood peels away. Another follows. Each sliver of wood that falls is a thought released, a worry discarded, letting it drift away and disappear into the quiet of the hall. You are not trying to create a masterpiece. You are simply shaping the wood, following the lines of the grain, listening to what the block wants to become. Perhaps you are rounding a corner, softening a sharp edge into a gentle curve. Your thumb guides the blade with steady pressure, and the iron glides smoothly, carving an arc that is pleasing to your eye and to your touch. You run your finger over the newly exposed wood. It is even smoother than before, with a silken, almost wet feeling, and the fresh, clean scent of the birch is stronger here, a small puff of fragrance released with every single cut. The world outside the longhouse has vanished completely, consumed by the howling blizzard, but here, within these thick wooden walls, the only sounds that matter: the soft, rhythmic shearing of your knife, the gentle rustle of the wood shavings as they settle on your lap, and beneath it all, the grand and constant sermon of the fire. The long fire. They crackle and spit, a sound like knuckles being cracked or seeds popping in a pan, as pockets of resin and moisture within the wood burst from the intense heat. Every so often, a log shifts and settles deeper into the glowing bed of embers, sending a cascade of brilliant orange sparks dancing up towards the smoke. Hole in the roof, a fleeting galaxy of fireflies that winks out against the smoke, blackened timbers above. You watch the flames themselves, a slow and hypnotic ballet of colour and light. At the base of the logs, where the fire is hottest, the flames burn with an intense, almost invisible blue, a pure and searing heat. Above this, the fire blossoms into a deep and vibrant orange, the colour of sunset and molten gold, and at the very tips, the flames stretch into tongues of bright, flickering yellow, licking at the rising column of smoke, painting the air with their warmth. These flames are never still. They sway and writhe, they leap and shrink, casting a universe of moving shadows upon the walls and roof of the Longhouse. The thick animal pelts that line the ceiling, bear and wolf and deer, seem to come alive in the dancing light, their fur rippling as if stirred by a phantom breeze, the shadows of their heads and limbs stretching and contorting into fantastic, fleeting shapes. Your own shadow is cast long and deep behind you, a silent, dark giant that mimics your every small movement. The warmth from the fire is a physical presence. It presses against your face and the front of your body, a heavy, comfortable blanket of heat that soothes your skin and seeps deep into your muscles. You can feel it on your eyelids, making them feel heavy and warm. You can feel it on your hands, chasing away the last memory of the winter's chill. The air you breathe is thick with the rich, resinous perfume of the burning pine, a scent that is sharp and clean and comforting all at once. It mingles with the fainter, ever-present smells of the hall, the earthy aroma of the packed dirt floor, the oily scent of lanolin from 100 wool blankets, the faint, lingering smell of dried herbs, old leather, and the sweet, cloying memory of last night's mead. It is the smell of home. The firelight illuminates the new facets you have carved, the gentle curves and clean lines. You have been working on one end of the block, slowly coaxing out a shape. Perhaps it is the long, graceful neck of a swan, or the sturdy, powerful head of a horse. You are not entirely sure yet, and it does not matter. The joy is in the slow reveal. You turn the block over and over, feeling its changing shape, its new balance in your palm. You decide to work on a different section, to define a new line. You lift the knife again, its cool iron a familiar anchor in a world that is growing soft and warm. Fish, huff. The sound is so clean, so precise, in the vast, muffled quiet of the hall. As your hands work, your mind is free to drift, to float on the currents of sound and sensation that fill this space. You become aware, once more, of the breathing. The entire Longhouse is breathing around you. It is the softest, most pervasive sound of all, a sound you feel as much as you hear from the sleeping platforms that line the long walls. The members of your clan are lost in deep, untroubled slumber. You can hear the slow, even rhythm of their collective breath, a gentle tide of inhales and exhales that rises and falls in unison. It is a sound of profound peace and trust. You can distinguish the deeper, slower breaths of the men from the softer, quicker breaths of the women and children. Here and there, a soft snore cuts through the quiet, a low, rumbling purr that is more comforting than disruptive. Someone shifts in their sleep, and the rustle of a heavy fur blanket is a soft, muffled counterpoint to the crackle of the fire. These are the sounds of a family at rest, a tribe secure in its shelter, huddled together against the vast and indifferent cold. The storm that rages outside is a distant rumour, a low guttural moan that you can barely hear over the sounds of the fire and the sleeping hall. The wind throws itself against the thick timber walls and the heavy turf roof, but the structure does not tremble. It is solid, ancient, rooted deep in the frozen earth. It is a great wooden beast, and you are resting safely in its warm, quiet belly. The howl of the wind only serves to amplify the feeling of absolute security within. Your own breathing has begun to slow, to deepen, unconsciously falling into the same peaceful rhythm as the sleepers around you. With each slow exhale, you feel a layer of tension you didn't even know you were holding begin to dissolve. Your shoulders, which were slightly hunched in concentration over your carving, now drop and relax. The muscles in your neck and back soften, warmed by the fire and soothed by the deep, resonant peace of the hall. Your hands continue their slow, rhythmic work with the knife and wood, but the movements are becoming more automatic, more fluid. The sharp focus you held is softening at the edges, blurring into a wider, more gentle awareness. The small pile of wood shavings on your lap has grown. They form a soft, pale mound, each delicate curl interlocking with the next. You pause your carving and run your fingers through them. They are impossibly light and fragile, and they rustle with a sound like dry leaves. Their clean, woody scent rises up to meet you, a refreshing contrast to the heavy, smoky air. You are a part of this place, a quiet, wakeful guardian in a hall of dreams. You are a keeper of the fire, a shaper of wood, a silent witness to the deep, slow pulse of a winter's night. The firelight doesn't reach the furthest corners of the hall, which are lost in deep, impenetrable shadow. You see the peaceful, slack, jawed face of an old warrior, his great white beard rising and falling gently on his chest. You see a mother and her child curled together under a single massive bearskin, their cheeks flushed pink with warmth and sleep. The firelight catches on small, mundane details, transforming them into objects of beauty and significance. It finds the polished curve of a discarded drinking horn, the intricate bronze metalwork of a brooch fastening a sleeping woman's cloak, the smooth, worn leather of a shield boss on the wall, its iron surface gleaming with a dull, coppery light. Each object is a silent story, a piece of the life that fills this hall, all of it now at rest, bathed in the gentle, forgiving light of the embers. Your eyelids feel wonderfully heavy, weighted down by the warmth and the profound quiet. The act of carving, which once sharpened your focus, now seems to be drawing you deeper into a state of peaceful trance. The knife moves more slowly now, with less pressure. The shavings it produces are finer, more like dust. The sound is softer, more drawn out. The small wooden shape in your hand, the horse or the swan or whatever it may be, is smooth and warm. Your hands are now empty. Without the task of carving, your senses open up even further. You are now purely an observer, a vessel for the peace of this moment. They pulse with a soft internal light, a deep and steady crimson glow. A tiny blue flame occasionally flickers to life from a pocket of gas, dances for a moment on the surface of a charcoal log, and then vanishes again. The heat is less intense now, a more gentle, radiant warmth that invites you to lean in closer. The symphony of breathing continues, the soft, rhythmic pulse of the hall's sleeping heart. You find your own breath is perfectly in sync with it now without any effort. You are breathing with the hall. You are breathing with the clan. Each breath you take in is filled with the scent of pine smoke and warm wool, and each breath you let out is a silent sigh of contentment, a release of all that is heavy, all that is trouble. You are anchored to this moment, to this place. There is no past, no future. The fire, the breathing, the warmth, the darkness. The world has shrunk to the size of this longhouse, and your world has shrunk to the circle of firelight in which you sit in this small, warm universe. You are completely safe, completely. The great dark ocean of the polar night can press in from all sides. The wind can howl its ancient, lonely song. But it cannot touch you here. You are sheltered not just by wood and turf, but by the collective warmth and peace of your sleeping kin. You are a single quiet point of stillness in a sleeping world. And as the last of the great logs crumbles into a shower of brilliant sparks, and the fire settles into the long, slow burn of its embers, you feel the last vestiges of wakefulness begin to dissolve, like salt in warm water, leaving you floating, drifting, on the verge of your own deep and dreamless sleep. The silence deepens, the warmth cradles you, and the slow, rhythmic breathing of the sleepers becomes the only thing left in the entire world. A gentle, hypnotic current, pulling you down, down, down into the profound and welcoming quiet. The small iron knife feels like an extension of your own hand, a familiar weight in your palm that has become second nature through countless nights. Its wooden handle, darkened with the oils from your skin and worn smooth by the pressure of your grip, is cool against your fingers, a pleasing contrast to the radiant warmth washing over you from the great fire pit. You are sitting on a low stool carved from a single broad section of a tree trunk, its surface softened by a thick folded sheep fleece that cushions you from the hard wood. The fire is your only companion in this waking world, a long glowing heart in the center of the immense longhouse. Outside, the blizzard continues its relentless assault against the world of men, a furious, shrieking entity of wind and ice. But its voice is a distant and muffled thing here, a low, resonant hum that you feel in the soles of your feet and in the dense timber of the walls. It is the sound of a great beast prowling the perimeter of your sanctuary, a sound that only serves to deepen the profound sense of safety and stillness that fills this space. The knife's edge is perfectly honed, a sliver of dark, polished iron that catches the firelight in a liquid gold line as you turn it. In your other hand, you hold a block of birchwood, its pale, creamy surface almost luminous in the amber glow. You are carving, and the world has shrunk to this simple, focused act. The blade meets the wood, and with a gentle pressure from your thumb, you guide it forward. A dry, crisp fee whispers through the hall, a sound so clean and precise, it seems to cut through the thick, warm air. A single, perfect shaving, thin as parchment, curls away from the block and drifts down to join its brethren on the dark furs spread at your feet. It lands without a sound, a pale comma on a bed of black bear hide. The scent of the freshly cut birch rises to meet you, a clean, green, slightly sweet perfume that mingles with the rich, smoky aroma of the burning pine logs. You are not thinking of the shape you wish to create in any conscious, deliberate way. Your hands know the form that lives inside the wood. They feel the grain, the subtle shifts in density, the path of least resistance. It is a conversation between you, the knife, and the wood. a silent language spoken through. You are shaping the gentle curve of a horse's neck, the proud arch of its head. The blade skims along the surface, and you feel the slight, satisfying vibration travel up the length of the iron, through the wooden handle, and into the quiet center of your being. The muscles in your shoulders and back, which might hold the tension of the day, have released their grip, letting you settle more deeply into your seat. Your posture relaxed and easy. Your breathing is slow and even, falling into a natural rhythm with the soft, steady motions of your hands. Inhale as you position the blade. Exhale as you make the cut. Nearly 100 souls lie sleeping on the wide raised platforms that run the length of both walls. They are buried under great mounds of furs and heavy wool blankets, their forms indistinct hills and valleys in the flickering dimness. The only sign of their life is the sound of their breath, a vast and gentle tide of air. It is not a collection of individual noises, but a single unified presence, a soft, continuous wave of inhalations and exhalations that rises and falls with the steadiness of a calm sea. Here and there, a sleeper shifts, the rustle of their furs a soft, muffled counterpoint to the breathing, like a small eddy in a slow-moving river. A quiet sigh escapes from a nearby platform, a sound of pure contentment, before it is reabsorbed into the communal peace. This sound. You pause in your carving, lowering your hands to your lap. The knife rests beside the half-formed horse, its work done for a moment. You lift your gaze to the fire. It is a living creature of light and heat. Great logs, as thick as a man's thigh, lie nestled in a bed of incandescent embers. They burn slowly, consumed from within. The flames are not the wild, frantic dancers of a new fire. They are the stately, measured movements of a fire that has been burning for hours, a fire that knows its own strength. They lick up the sides of the blackened logs, casting licking tongues of orange and yellow light that writhe and sway in a silent, hypnotic ballet. A pocket of resin in one of the pine logs, heated to its boiling point, suddenly bursts with a sharp fay-pop-fay, sending a shower of brilliant golden sparks cascading upwards into the gloom. They rise like a swarm of fireflies, tracing frantic, beautiful arcs against the darkness, before extinguishing one by one, their brief, bright lives ending in a whisper of falling ash. Your eyes follow their ascent, their lazy upward drift, and you feel your own focus softening, your eyelids growing just a little heavier with each fading spark. The heat from the fire pit is a physical presence. It presses against your face, your chest, your outstretched legs. It is a dry, heavy warmth that sinks deep into your bones, chasing away the last memory of the endless cold that reigns outside. You can feel it on your eyelids, a pleasant weight that encourages them to close. The air you breathe is thick with the smells of this sanctuary, the sharp, clean scent of the pine smoke, the sweeter perfume of the birch shavings at your feet, the earthy smell of the packed dirt floor, the faint, musky scent of wool and sleeping bodies, and hanging in the rafters high above, the dry, herbal notes of yarrow and meadowsweet that were gathered in the long-lost summer and hung to dry for winter teas and remedies. All of these scents are woven together, a complex tapestry of aroma that is simply the smell of life, the smell of security. Your gaze drifts from the fire to the shadows it creates. They are immense, stretching away from the central hearth, to cloak the far ends of the longhouse in near total darkness. The massive, upright posts that support the roof are transformed into colossal pillars, their surfaces a dramatic landscape of light and dark. The rough texture of the bark and the deep grooves of the axe, high above, where the smoke from the fire gathers before finding its way out through the long smoke hole in the roof. The animal pelts and hides that line the ceiling seem to stir with a life of their own. The dancing light makes the fur on a wolf pelt seem to ripple, as if the animal were breathing. The shadow of a hanging shield on the wall becomes a great, dark moon. These shadows are not frightening. They are soft and gentle, blurring the hard edges of the world, wrapping the hall in a soft focus embrace that makes it feel even more secluded, even more dreamlike. You let out a long, slow breath you didn't realize you were holding. It leaves your body in a soft, visible plume in the cool air, a momentary cloud that is caught by the firelight before dissolving into the warmth. A deeper layer of tension you were not even aware of has just let go, melting away into the comforting atmosphere of the hall. You feel your body growing heavier, sinking more profoundly into the stool, into the soft give of the sheep fleece. The constant, low hum of the storm outside is no longer a sound you consciously register. It is a lullaby sung by the winter itself, a song of wildness and power that makes the warmth and stillness inside all the more precious, all the more deeply felt. Your hand drifts back to the small wooden horse in your lap. The wood is smooth and cool, a pleasing weight. Your thumb traces the lines you have already made. The strong curved neck, the delicate beginnings of a nostril, the first few notches that will become a flowing mane. The shape is already there, held within the wood, and your work has been to simply free it. You feel a quiet sense of satisfaction, not of pride, but of simple, peaceful accomplishment. There is no hurry to finish it. It might be completed tomorrow night, or the night after, or a week from now. In the gradual progress of a small wooden horse taking shape in your hand, the rhythm of the breathing around you seems to have deepened. It has become even slower, even more synchronized. It is the sound of absolute rest of bodies and minds, given over completely to the restorative power of sleep. You find your own breathing has unconsciously matched this cadence. Your chest rises and falls in perfect time with the sleepers around you, and you feel yourself becoming a part of this collective peace, your own consciousness beginning to blur at the edges, merging with the profound tranquility of the hall. Your connection to the waking world feels thin, tenuous, as if you are floating in the warm, dark space between wakefulness and dreams. A large log in the fire pit, its core finally burned through, gives way with a soft, deep phewum. It collapses in upon itself, sending a fresh surge of flames and a much brighter flurry of sparks up towards the smoke. Whole, the light in the longhouse flares for a moment, illuminating corners that had been lost to shadow, and then it subsides, settling back into a deeper, more intimate glow. The bed of embers is now brighter, a solid field of pulsating, deep red light. The heat intensifies for a moment, washing over you in a comforting wave. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but just to feel it. The warmth on your eyelids, the soft pressure of the air, the distant rumble of the wind, the gentle crackle of the embers, the tide of breath. All of these sensations merge into a single, overwhelming feeling of peace. The world outside, with its ice and its darkness and its howling fury, is another reality entirely. It cannot touch you here. Here, in the belly of the Longhouse, cradled by the warmth of the fire and the breath of your people, you are utterly and completely safe. You open your eyes again. You are looking at the fire, but you are not really seeing it. You are simply absorbing its light, its warmth, its sound. Your mind, which was so focused on the intricate details of the carving, has now let go of all thought. It is empty, calm, and receptive. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be, nothing to think about. Your hands are still, your body is heavy, and your mind is drifting. The sounds of the hall are no longer separate and distinct. The crackle of the fire, the light from the embers casts a steady, gentle glow, less frantic than the dancing flames. They no longer dance, but seem to sway gently, as if they too are being rocked to sleep by the quiet rhythm of the hall. As you watch, a delicate layer of white ash forms over its surface like a dusting of snow, and its light is finally extinguished. It is a slow, quiet, and inevitable process, and watching it feels profoundly calming. It is the natural end of a cycle, a giving way to rest. You feel this same process happening within you. The fierce glow of your focus has softened. A gentle, quiet ash is settling over your mind, banking the fires of consciousness for the night. Your head feels heavy on your neck, and you allow it to loll slightly to one side. Your eyelids are like heavy curtains, weighted down, wanting only to close and shut out the last of the light. The boundary between the feeling of the warm air on your skin and your skin itself begins to dissolve. The boundary between the sound of breathing in the hall and your own breath begins to fade. You are not just in this space. You are becoming part of it, part of the warmth, part of the darkness, part of the peace. The world is soft and warm, and it is holding you. There is nothing left to do but to let go, to allow yourself to drift on this slow, gentle tide, down into the deep, quiet, and dreamless sleep that awaits. Your hand continues its slow, rhythmic work, the small iron blade held steady between your thumb and forefinger, as it glides across the pale surface of the birchwood. The pressure is perfectly even, a skill born not of thought, but of countless hours spent just like this. In the deep, quiet heart of the winter, the blade makes a soft, crisp sound as it shaves away a delicate curl of wood, a sound like whispering, a dry and satisfying fish. The shaving, almost translucent in the firelight, falls away to join its brethren on the packed earth floor around your stool, a growing pile of pale, fragrant confetti. You watch it fall for a moment, a tiny, weightless thing tumbling through the warm air. Before your gaze returns to the task at hand, the wood in your other palm is warm, infused with the heat of your own body and the radiant glow of the central fire pit. Its surface is becoming smoother with every pass, the subtle ridges and valleys of the grain slowly yielding to the patient insistence of the iron. You are not carving towards any particular shape. There is no urgency, no quota to meet, no intricate dragon head or knotwork pattern demanding precision. Tonight, the carving is simply for the sake of carving. That scent rises with every stroke, clean and green and sweet, a ghost of the forest in summer, a welcome counterpoint to the heavy, smoky perfume of the burning pine logs in the fire. It is a smell of life, of sap and sun, a reminder that even in this endless, frozen night, the world is merely sleeping, not gone. The world becomes this small, warm circle of light, this piece of wood, this simple tool, this quiet, repetitive motion, the steady scrape of the blade, the soft rustle of the falling shavings, the gentle pressure against your palm. These are the only things that are real. Your breathing, which had been quiet, now deepens and slows, falling into a natural rhythm with the slow, deliberate movement of your hands. You inhale the fragrant air, a mix of pine smoke and birch wood and warm wool, and as you exhale, you feel a wave of profound peace wash over you. There is nowhere else to be. There is nothing else to do. You are sheltered, you are warm, you are safe, cocooned in the heart of your clan, in the heart of the long winter. The great roaring blizzard outside is just a story, a distant song sung by the wind, a sound that cannot touch you here. It is a lullaby for the sleeping world, and its deep, constant drone only emphasizes the fire in the central pit shifts and settles. A large pine log, its surface charred to a deep alligator, skin black, finally succumbs to the heat. It splits apart with a deep, resonant fey-crack that echoes softly in the vast space, sending a shower of brilliant orange sparks spiraling up towards the smoke. For a moment, the light in the hall intensifies, washing over the sleeping forms on the benches along the walls, painting them in hues of amber and gold. You see the gentle rise and fall of heavy fur blankets, the soft mounds and shadows that are your kin, lost in their own worlds of dream and shadow. The light catches the intricate carvings on the great roof pillars, making the beasts and knots there seem to writhe and twist for a single silent second, before the flames die down again and the shadows rush back in to reclaim their territory. The sound of their collective breathing is like the gentle tide on a calm sea, a soft, rhythmic wave of sound that fills the hall, a testament to the life held within these walls. It is a sound of absolute trust, of bodies given over completely to the oblivion of sleep, secure in the knowledge that they are protected. You make another long, slow pass with the blade, shaving off a perfect, paper-thin ribbon of wood that curls back upon itself like a fern frond. The sensation of the edge slicing cleanly through the fibers is immensely satisfying, a small, perfect moment of control and creation. You run your thumb over the newly sit feels like silk, cool and flawless. The light plays across its surface, highlighting the subtle, shimmering patterns of the grain, the pale lines that tell the story of the tree's life, of its seasons of growth and rest. It is beautiful in its simplicity, a humble piece of the forest, now held and warmed and slowly transformed by, and in this moment of quiet contemplation, you feel a sense of connection to it, a kinship with this small living thing. You are both here, together, sharing the warmth of the same fire, breathing the same smoky air, existing in the same pocket of stillness, carved out of the heart of the storm. The focus that has held you so intently for the past hour is beginning to soften, to dissolve around the edges. The movements of your hand slow even further, becoming less deliberate, more automatic. The blade still slides across the wood, but the pressure is lighter now. The shavings even finer, almost like dust. The world outside of your small circle of firelight has ceased to exist entirely. There is only the soft glow, the gentle warmth on your face and hands, the clean scent of the wood, and the steady, comforting weight of your own body settling into the stool. Your mind, which had been so focused on the single point of the blade's edge, begins to drift. It floats on the soft currents of the air, unmoored from thought, content to simply be. Your hand stops its motion, resting with the blade against the wood, For a long moment, you simply sit like that, feeling the last faint vibration of the work fade into stillness. Then, slowly, carefully, you place the small iron knife on the woolen blanket beside you on the stool. The metal, you then place the piece of birch wood next to it. Your hands, now free, feel strangely light. You flex your fingers, feeling the faint stiffness from holding the tool, a pleasant, fading ache that speaks of quiet industry. You rest your open palms on your knees, and the warmth of the fire soaks into them, chasing away the last of the tension. Your lap is covered by a heavy wool tunic, its texture thick and slightly coarse under your hands, its familiar weight a comfort. Now, with your hands still and your focus released, your senses open up to the wider world of the Longhouse. Your attention drifts from the small and the immediate to the vast and the ambient. The fire is no longer just a source of light for your work. It is the living, breathing heart of the hall. You watch the flames. No longer they are not the violent, crackling flames of an hour ago. The great logs have burned down into a deep, glowing bed of embers, a miniature landscape of smouldering mountains and valleys. The light they cast is softer, deeper, a rich and pulsing crimson that seems to soak into the very wood of the building. Here and there a pocket of trapped resin will ignite, and a tall, slender tongue of orange flame will dance up from the embers, licking at the air for a moment, silent and graceful before vanishing back into the glow. It is like watching a slow, silent dance, a performance for an audience of one. The heat from the fire pit rolls towards you in gentle, consistent waves. It is a physical presence in the room, a heavy, invisible blanket of warmth that presses against your skin. You can feel it on your face, your chest, your outstretched hands. It sinks into the wool of your tunic, into the sheepskin on your stool. A deep and penetrating heat that soothes your muscles and calms your nerves. If you were to turn your head, you would feel the distinct line where the fire's warmth ends and the cool, still air of the hall begins. But you do not turn your head. You remain perfectly still, letting the warmth saturate you, feeling it loosen every joint, every fiber of your being. Your jaw, which you were holding slightly clenched, now softens and falls slack. Your tongue rests heavily in your mouth. Your whole body feels weighted, anchored to the earth by a pleasant, growing lethargy. The sounds of the hall have changed as well. The sharp crackle of burning pine has been replaced by a much softer collection of noises. There is the very faint, almost inaudible hiss of the embers as they slowly consume themselves. Occasionally, a piece of charcoal will shift and settle in the glowing pile, making a soft, delicate clinking sound like tiny stones being disturbed. And beneath it all, there is the breathing. The collective breath of the clan has deepened in the long hours of the night. It is no longer a collection of individual sounds, but a single, unified rhythm, a vast and gentle respiration that seems to be the breathing of the house itself. Inhale, a soft collective sigh that rises and fills the space. Exhale, a long, slow release that falls and fades into the silence. You find your own breath naturally falling into sync with it, each slow exhalation carrying you deeper and deeper into a state of rest. Your gaze drifts upward, away from the fire. Now, with the fire burning low, the smoke is thin and almost invisible, but you can see its effect on the light. The beams of soft red glow that rise from the embers are softened and diffused as they pass through the lingering haze, creating a sense of immense depth and space above you. The light doesn't just stop at the roof. It seems to fade into an infinite smoky darkness. The great timbers that form the rafters are lost in shadow, their massive forms merely suggested. But where the light does catch, it reveals the textures of the roof. You can see the rough, hairy surfaces of the animal hides that have been stretched and cured, their edges overlapping. You see the glint of preserved oils on a bearskin, the coarse, matted texture of a wolf pelt. They hang like dark, heavy clouds in the firmament of the hall, trapping the precious warmth, their shadowy forms swaying almost imperceptibly with the deep vibrations of the wind outside. The shadows in the Longhouse are no longer just an absence of light. They have become a substance in their own right, a soft black velvet that fills the corners of the hall and pools, in the spaces between the sleeping benches. They are a blanket for the world, a necessary counterpart to the fire's glow. The firelight pushes against them, but it cannot banish them. They coexist in a perfect silent harmony. The dancing flames from a moment ago would send the shadows slithering and stretching along the walls and floor, a fleeting, playful ballet. But now in the steady, pulsing glow of the embers, the shadows are still. They are as motionless as the sleeping people they surround. They hold the stillness of the night within them, a deep and profound quiet that seeps into your bones. Your eyes, now fully adjusted to the dimness, can perceive subtle gradations within the dark. There is the deep, absolute black beneath the benches, and the softer charcoal grey of the walls far from the fire, where the rough-hewn texture of the logs is just barely visible. You let your eyes drift closed, not to sleep, but just to feel the darkness behind your eyelids. The red glow of the fire remains, a faint, warm impression on the back of your retinas, a dying star in your own private universe. With your vision turned inward, your other senses become even more acute. You can feel the slight vibration of the building itself, the massive timber frame, settled deep into the frozen earth, groans and creaks softly as it bears the weight of the snow and the force of the wind. These are not sounds of strain, but the familiar, living sounds of your home. It is like being inside the belly of some great, sleeping beast. Its ribs, the timber posts, its breath, the rising smoke. The sounds are so deep and low that you feel them in your chest as much as you hear them with your ears. A low, resonant hum. That is the song of the structure, a melody of wood and weight and winter. The blizzard continues its assault on the outside world. You can hear it as a low, continuous pressure against the walls, a deep and ceaseless roar that has become the background music of your life for these past weeks. It is so constant that you almost stop hearing it, but it is always there, a reminder of the vast, untamed wilderness that lies just beyond the... It speaks of immense power, of a world scoured by ice and wind, a world of beautiful, deadly indifference. And yet, here, inside, you feel nothing but a profound sense of safety. The storm is a wall that separates you from the rest of the world, isolating you in this cocoon of warmth. Its fury makes the stillness of the Longhouse even more precious. Its cold makes the fire's heat even more divine. It is the dragon that guards your fortress, ensuring that nothing and no one can disturb the deep slumber within. The air you breathe is thick with the history of the hall. It is a complex tapestry of scents that have been woven together over generations. There is the ever-present smell of wood smoke, a smell so fundamental it is like the scent of air itself. Woven into it is the sharp, clean tang of pine resin from the fire, the sweet green perfume of the birchwood in your lap, and the oily animal scent of the furs and hides. There is the faint, musty smell of damp wool, and the savoury ghost of the evening's meal, a hint of roasted meat and herbs that still lingers near the fire pit. Deeper still, there is the smell of the earth floor, damp and cool and ancient, and the very subtle, almost metallic scent of cold that seeps in through the tiny gaps in the walls, a crisp edge to the overwhelming warmth. You breathe it all in, this rich and layered atmosphere of home, and it is as comforting as a hand. Your body has become almost completely still. The only movement is the slow, steady rise and fall of your chest. Your head feels heavy on your neck, and you allow it to loll slightly to one side, your chin resting against the thick wool of your tunic. A deep, profound sense of drowsiness is settling over you, a weight that is both physical and mental. It is not a struggle to stay awake. It is a gentle, willing surrender to the encroaching peace of sleep. Your thoughts, which had been drifting, they are like wisps of smoke, forming for a moment before losing their shape and fading back into the warm, quiet darkness of your mind. There are no worries, no plans, no memories. There is only this moment, this place, this feeling of absolute and perfect. You feel the weight of the sheepskin blanket on the stool beneath you, the solid support of the wood. You feel the heavy drape of your own limbs, the complete relaxation of your muscles. Your hands lie open and useless in your lap. Your feet are planted firmly on the cool earth floor. You are a part of the stillness. Now, another silent breathing form in the great sleeping hall. The fire continues to pulse its soft red light, a slow and steady heartbeat. The blizzard continues to whisper its deep hypnotic song. The sleepers continue to breathe their slow, rhythmic tide of air. The boundary between you and the room is blurring, your consciousness expanding to fill the space, becoming one with the warmth, the shadows, and the soft sleeping sounds of your world. You are home, and it is time to rest. Hello, and welcome back to Slumbering Ages. I'll erase all of the thoughts and worries that have followed you here. Release the tiny muscles around your eyes. Let your jaw fall slack, and allow your shoulders to drop away from your ears, releasing a weight you may not have even known you were carrying. With each breath you take, feel yourself sinking deeper, deeper into the surface beneath you. And with each breath you release, let go of one more thing, one more concern, one more echo of the waking world, until there is nothing left but the sound of my voice and the journey that awaits us. Tonight, our journey takes us far to the north and far back in time. We travel to the year 10. The sun has long since vanished below the horizon, plunging the land into the profound star-dusted darkness of the polar night. A great winter, a fimbul winter of mythic proportions, holds the world in its icy grip. But you are not out in the cold. You are safe. You are sitting deep within the belly of a Viking longhouse, a magnificent hall constructed from colossal trunks of ancient timber, each log as wide as a grown man's chest. Outside, a blizzard of impossible fury howls and shrieks, throwing curtains of snow against the thick wooden walls and piling drifts high against the hide. Covered doors, the wind moans like a hungry wolf as it tears through the high peaks of the fjord, a sound of immense and untamed power. It is a distant, muffled drone, a low, continuous rumble that serves only to deepen the sense of absolute safety and seclusion that surrounds you now. It is the sound of a world held at bay. You are here, in the warmth. You sit upon a low, sturdy stump of wood, its surface softened by a thick, heavy sheepskin fleece, its oily wool still smelling faintly of lanolin and the wild fields of summer. Your back is supported by one of the massive interior posts that holds up the longhouse roof, its surface worn smooth by generations of hands and shoulders that have rested here, just as you are resting now. The air around you is cool, but not cold. A river of gentle warmth flows towards you from the center of the hall. There, stretching for many meters down the length of the earthen floor, is the long fire. It is not a frantic, leaping bonfire, but a deep and steady heart of heat. Hugay logs of pine, felled from the high forests before the snows came, burn with a slow, deliberate intensity. They hiss and crackle with a sound that is both comforting and ancient, a deep and resonant fay-pop fay as a pocket of resin bursts, sending a shower of brilliant orange sparks spiraling up towards the smoke. Hole in the ceiling. The fire breathes, a living creature in the heart of the sleeping hall, and you breathe with it. The light it casts is a living thing as well. It is a soft, flickering amber that pushes back the profound darkness, but does not defeat it. It paints the immediate world in hues of honey and gold, while the far corners of the longhouse remain lost in impenetrable shadow. The firelight glints on the smooth, dark surface of the timber walls, and it dances across the ceiling high above. Up there, stretched between the great crossbeams, are the cured hides and furs of animals, bear and wolf, reindeer and fox, insulating the hall from the crushing weight of the snow on the roof. In the wavering light, their furry shapes seem to sway and shift, creating a silent, slow ballet of shadows. They are the guardians of this space, the silent watchers of your peace. They lie on the raised wooden platforms that line the long walls, tucked deep beneath heavy blankets of wool and piles of soft furs. From the darkness on either side of you comes the sound of their slumber. It is a gentle, unified chorus of slow, soft inhalation. A child murmurs a single dream-lost word. These are the sounds of life, of community, of absolute trust. You are alone in your wakefulness, but you are not lonely. You are the quiet anchor in a sea of peaceful sleep, and their rest deepens your own sense of tranquility. The sharp, clean scent of the burning pine and its hot, melting resin is the strongest note, but beneath it you can detect the earthy aroma of the hard-packed floor, the faint, smoky perfume of 100,000 fires that have burned in this pit before, the scent of dried herbs hanging from the rafters, and the warm animal smell of the wool and furs that surround you. It is the smell of home, of survival, of deep and abiding peace. In one hand, you cradle a small, smooth block of birch wood, its pale surface almost white in the firelight. It is cool to the touch, and you can feel the subtle, almost invisible lines of its grain beneath your fingertips. In your other hand, you hold a small iron knife. It is a simple tool, its wooden handle worn smooth and dark from years of use, fitting perfectly into the curve of your palm. The blade itself is short, but wickedly sharp, its edge honed to a fine silver line. You angle it towards the fire, and the polished iron catches the light, throwing a brief, warm gleam back at you. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your posture is easy. You are not working. You are letting your hands do what they know how to do, while your mind remains quiet. And still, You bring the edge of the blade to the corner of the birch block. For a moment, you simply hold it there, feeling the perfect meeting of keen iron and soft wood. Then, with a slow, deliberate pressure from your thumb, you guide the blade forward. There is a sound, a crisp and satisfying whisper. Fishfef, asterisk. A thin, curling shape. It is almost translucent, a perfect spiral that remains connected to the wood for a moment, before falling away into your lap. You pause, looking at the pale curl resting on the dark wool of your trousers. The firelight shines through it, illuminating its delicate structure. You lift the block of wood closer to your face and inhale. The scent of the fresh cut is exquisite. It is clean, green, and slightly sweet. A ghost of the living forest. A promise of spring locked away in the heart of the wood. It is a scent that cuts through the smoke and the earthiness of the hall. A pure and simple fragrance that clears your mind and focuses your attention. Again you set the blade to the wood. The feel of the knife in your hand is an extension of your own body, a familiar weight. The pressure you exert is precise, born of long practice. You know exactly how much force to use to make the blade glide rather than chop, to shave rather than tear. Fish, asterisk. Another curl of white wood whispers into existence. This one longer, more elegant. It twists in the air for a second before joining its twin on your lap. It is the only sharp sound in this world of muffled rumbles and soft breathing. It is the sound of creation, of gentle and purposeful change. You turn the block of wood in your hand, feeling the new facet you have just... You feel its resistance, the subtle shifts in its grain. Sometimes the blade glides with effortless grace. Other times, it meets a slightly harder section, a knot or a change in direction, and you must apply a little more pressure, a little more focus, guiding the blade with care. This gentle challenge keeps you present, rooted in the here and now. Your entire universe has shrunk to this small, warm circle of firelight. Outside is the storm, the endless night, the vast and frozen world. But in here, there is only the fire, the block of wood, the keen edge of the blade, and the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. A log settles deeper into the glowing bed of embers, sending a fresh plume of flame licking upwards. You watch it for a moment. You watch the flames twist and writhe, a hypnotic dance of orange and yellow against the deep velvety red of the embers below. The smoke, a hazy grey phantom, rises in a thick column, swirling lazily as it ascends towards the opening in the roof, a dark square against a slightly less dark sky. For a brief second, the clouds part, and a single brilliant star looks down through the smoke. Whole, a diamond of cold, distant light, before the blizzard obscures it once more. You begin to carve a pattern, a simple looping knot that has been carved into the posts and lintels of this hall for as long as anyone can remember. It is a pattern that has no beginning and no end, a symbol of the turning of the seasons, of the cycle of life and death, and life again. Your knife follows the lines you have pictured in your mind. Asterisk. A longer, shallower cut to smooth an edge, the blade almost parallel to the surface. The wood shavings are piling up in your lap now, a small, fragrant drift of pale curls on the dark wool. Each one is a record of a moment of focus, a tiny piece of time made tangible. The rhythm of the work is taking over, the slow, repetitive motion of your hands, the whisper of the blade, the steady warmth of the fire, the deep and even breathing of the sleepers around you. All of it is weaving together into a powerful lullaby. Your own breathing has slowed, deepening to match the rhythm of the hall. Your body feels heavy and deeply rooted to the stool, to the earth beneath. You feel a profound sense of peace in this simple, ancient task, in a world of immense and often brutal forces, of ice and storm, of hunger and darkness. This small act of creation is an anchor. It is an act of quiet defiance, a statement that even in the heart of the deepest winter, there is warmth, there is purpose, there is the gentle shaping of beauty. Each clean cut, each perfect shaving, is a moment of control and calm in a world that is anything but. Your gaze drifts from the wood in your hands to the fire in the pit. You are not looking at it so much as feeling it now. You feel its warmth on your skin, a gentle pressure of heat. You hear its low, rumbling crackle as a constant, soothing presence. You see its light not as a distinct image, but as a general wavering glow that fills your vision. Your hands slow down. The cuts become, the whispering of the blade grows softer, spaced further and further apart. Fish. Asterisk. A long pause. You watch a river of glowing embers cascade down the side of a burning log. Fish. Asterisk. A tiny flake of wood this time. The longhouse seems to hum around you, a low, resonant frequency that you feel in your chest. With a final, slow movement, you place the knife down on the sheepskin beside you. Your hands rest. You can feel the heat from the fire pit on the backs of your hands, on your cheeks, on your closed eyelids. You become aware of the sheer weight of the building around you, the immense tonnage of the timber, the heavy sod on the roof, the mountains of snow piled on top of that. You feel the strength of the structure, the way it stands firm against the storm, and you feel held by it, protected. You are in the heart of a gentle giant. The shadows on the ceiling are no longer dancing. As the fire burns lower, settling into a deep, smouldering glow, the light becomes more constant. The shadows of the hanging firs are now dark, still shapes against the smoke, darkened roof beams. They are at rest, just like the people below them. Everything is settling. Everything is coming to a stop. Your mind, which was so focused on the intricate work of carving, it does not latch onto thoughts or worries. It simply drifts on the warm currents of air in the hall. It observes without judgment, without comment. It notices the way the deep red glow of the embers paints the underside of the rising smoke, turning it from grey to a dusky rose. It notices the texture of the wool blanket on your lap, the slight roughness of the fibres under your resting palms. It notices the feeling of your own heartbeat, a slow, steady, muffled drum inside your chest, a rhythm that has joined the greater rhythm of the hall. Fa-tump, thump, thump, asterisk, slow and deep and calm. Your body feels impossibly heavy now, as if it is sinking gently into the wooden stool, which is sinking gently into the earth floor. A pleasant, liquid weightlessness spreads through your limbs. Your arms and legs feel distant, disconnected, belonging to someone else who is already deep in sleep. The sounds of the hall have merged into a single cohesive drone. The howl of the wind outside is just a bass note. The crackle of the fire is a soft percussive texture. The breathing of the sleepers is a gentle rhythmic shushing, like a slow tide on a distant shore. And your own breathing has joined them, a soft, effortless wave of air entering and a long, slow sigh of air leaving. In and out, deeper and more still. The light it gives off is minimal, a faint, pulsing radiance that barely illuminates the space around you. The far ends of the hall have been completely reclaimed by darkness. The world has shrunk again, to a small, intimate sphere of warmth and deep, deep quiet. You are no longer perhaps you have slumped forward, your head resting on your chest. Perhaps you have leaned back fully against the ancient smooth post. It does not matter. Your body has found its own way to rest. The warmth of the fire feels like your own warmth, floating on a warm, dark river that flows through the heart of the Longhouse. The last embers of the fire pulse, a slow, fading heartbeat in the center of the world. Glow and fade. Glow and fade. The darkness is not empty. It is full of peace. It is a heavy, soft blanket, tucking you in. The sounds are just a memory now. And so, sleep now, sleep well.